What kind of person wakes up, spends $100,000 to go to school, sits through years and years of classes of saying how they can fraudulently trick people into saying things that they didn't mean to say, or taking classes on how to stretch the truths, or taking classes on how to expose certain weaknesses in families and turn that into an excuse to steal a child from a family. I can't even imagine wanting to even remotely have that job, because for the little bit of those who actually need the help or the assistance, the reverse payoff is not worth it to me. I have one of the most gruesome jobs in the country. That's a crime and death scene cleaner. With each one of my jobs, when they close, I have a satisfaction. I've erased a bad memory for someone. These caseworkers are so strung out on Adderall and Ritalin and all these drugs that they force down our kids' throats when they take them, saying that they have a problem. But yet they have a problem because why? Because you took them away from our family, from their family? It's kind of weird, isn't it? Kind of weird that they take these ACEs classes to talk about the trauma that children seek if they see abuse or any of those type of things, the trauma that a child, senses and they come away with. But yet the number one trauma that's being caused by a child protective agent is you ripping away a kid from their loving home. Now, there are so many statistics that show that what they're doing is wrong. There's so many studies that show that you cannot take away a child from a family. The Constitution, they knew back in the 1700s, they knew that you weren't supposed to take a child away from their family. Hell, the nature knows that you're not supposed to take a baby away from its nest. Those animals will not have it. Even little tiny birds will give it their all to make sure that their young are all set. So what the fuck is wrong with us in America that is allowing these people to just come into our house, show a fucking plastic badge with a picture of their ugly faces on it, and we let them walk away with our kids? What is wrong with us? We've all been saying and talking and trying to figure out. There's nothing to figure out. This is wrong, and we need to stop it. How do you stop it, we say? Well, we stop adhering to their rules. Enough is enough. These people have an open playbook. They have an open pass to do whatever it is necessary to get to their next position in the justice system, to get to the next bonuses that they're going to get for getting your kid adopted off even quicker than most times. They remove your chances from you. They enable you to reunify. That's what's going on here, people. In my case, they stopped me from seeing and talking to my daughter because of my podcast. Today I was going over paperwork and I was rereading this, and they were saying that I disclosed personal information and so on and so forth about the caseworkers and their family. No, I did not. And this is coming from the assistant Attorney General of the state of Maine, she's putting this in her statements. So this corruption goes right up at the top. The only one that can control her is the governor of the state, so then she has to be involved in it too, doesn't she? I miss my little girl so fucking much I can't even explain to you the pain that I feel every day. From the moment I open my eyes, if I even decide to go to sleep, because all I do is think about her over and over and over again. It sucks. It really sucks for the world to look at you like you have failed in one of the worst ways possible. You failed your child. You failed your family as a father. No one trusts me anymore. I couldn't protect what was mine, and I don't blame them. No one in our case did anything wrong, and no one is listening, and no one is helping, except for my little girl is being destroyed. Every day is a little bit more. They terminated our parental rights. The appeals court bet you didn't even listen to the briefs. They didn't even read the briefs, I'm sure. My case is a pure case of corruption. That's a fact. People, if you are not involved in the Child Protective Services or have not been involved in the Child Protective Services, all you need to do is help us out. Listen to what we have to say. Because it's not a bunch of whine-ass parents sitting here crying about how they lost. Because let me tell you something, the parents that did lose their kids, that did not want their children, aren't doing what I've been doing, what a bunch of people that I talk to all the time have been doing. We are all screaming for help. America, listen to us. Why does nobody listen? Our kids are being stolen. They're treated like a piece of property. They're making money off of them going into a foster home, into this, into that, the Title IV funding. All of this is dirty, corrupt money based on our children and our sacrifices as parents. I'll admit, I used to be one of those people that said, hey, you got Child Protective Services on you? Oh, you must be an awful person. Have a good day. Wouldn't bat an eye. I apologize to anybody I ever did that to, because boy, what a dick move that is. Makes me sick to my stomach that I was that person. Makes me sick to my stomach that it took the sacrifice of my daughter for me to see the wrongs in the way I was. It's not fair the way the government is allowing people to come into our homes and take our families apart. And they're doing this for a reason. How could they allow children to be ripped from a home, put into a perfectly
She wound up getting her, and she withheld her from me and abused her for fucking 6 fucking years of her life. Next week's gonna be 1 year since I've had my daughter back full time.
And that was
and before that, I didn't even see her solid for 2 fucking years because she up and moved, didn't report the address, didn't say anything, just disappeared. I had to have a private investigator find her and then have the sheriff serve her.
Dude, and I remember
just to fucking get my kid back.
The shit that you would tell me once we became friends, dude, when all this first started fucking coming about. Not that it was coming about, because it wasn't first coming about for you. It was when our trust level increased and we were talking
it's
more
very
and more.
similar to what I went through.
Because you were telling me about it before Nina was taken, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because you were always talking about Thea and how fucking, you haven't seen her.
Well, I was hoping that, like, I'd get to have her be your daughter and everything.
Like, you had no shot in the world, though, when I first met you. You weren't even thought that you were ever having her back in your life.
I hadn't seen her for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
When I met you, I hadn't seen her for at least a year and a half. By the time I got her, it was 2 weeks to the day that I finally got her, that it would have been 2 years of not seeing her. Solid.
Yeah, I haven't seen Nina face to face since January 16th.
That's my birthday. So,
you know that
it's been a while.
They set up our goodbye visits, and Mary went to hers, but they wouldn't let me see her in person.
Yeah, see, that's not right.
They're like, you can do this over a Zoom.
Why?
Fuck you.
No, you have every right to see your kid. You have every right to see your kid. And that's the thing, is with like CPS involved.
But now it's not. No,
is
fuck
their
you,
big
people.
thing
They
is encouraging,
up.
making sure that the child is involved with
it's
the parents.
supposed to be that.
Child reunification. They don't do it. They don't.
From the second my eyes open to the moment that they falsely close for what they say is sleep, I call it a nightmare. I don't dream anymore. The sleep I get is 0 to none, as all I do is think and lay there and try harder and harder to figure out ways to get our little daughter home. We love her so much, and that's ultimately what the TPR has been founded on, is the love that we have for our daughter. You know, the district attorney and CPS tried to say that Mary was a victim of domestic abuse, and it didn't matter how much she kicked or screamed and said, no, this isn't the case. It didn't matter how much her counselors, her lawyers, or any of those people said that wasn't the case. It wasn't a matter of how many times we got police reports that said that there was nothing at all whatsoever, even in the, possibilities of a call ever coming in from domestic abuse. But here's the funny thing, too. No one ever asked our families anything. There was no interviews done to our families whatsoever. None. Zip, zero, zilch. The guardian ad litem, I read all kinds of paperwork on them. They're supposed to interview your families, your friends, your neighbors, all of these things to get a good roundabout image of what your life is and that of your daughter. No, that guardian ad litem did absolutely nothing. She did next to... No, you know what? She did do something. She ruined a little child and her family. That's what that guardian ad litem is. That's what she's done. So I apologize for that lie there, because she has done something, and it's something severe. She has actually taken and harmed a child. That caseworker, what has she done? That caseworker has done nothing but destroy a family and destroy a little child's childhood. And I say that because she was 3 years old. She's 5 years old now. Those 2 years were supposed to be her happiest, her prime, the best days of her life. And it was supposed to be me and her mother teaching her and rounding her out and letting her know, because she was already on her way to being an amazing child. And she sure is still an amazing child. But it's not how we... And it's not how God, and it's not how the relationship between us and God intended Nina to be at this point. Mary wasn't supposed to be able to have a child. She did. Her name is Nina. That was a gift from God. The state has taken her. You know why the state took her from Mary? Because she supported me. Now, isn't that a kick in the pants? You get two people that stand up for one another, that support one another. They love each other very much. They're best friends, been together for 10 years. We have an older daughter. We have 2 beautiful houses. We have a dog. We have a fence. We have all of the things that are necessary to make sure that a young child is loved, cared for, fed, receptive of, all of those things. All of them. And they came and they took her. Why? Because they break the rules. Because that little girl isn't a beating heart to them. That little girl is a number. And furthermore, this got even worse, is this was more a headhunt for me, because I fought back against this system. I fought back. And I was told by multiple people, Darren, stop, conform. Please don't do this. Do what they're asking you. And I did what they asked me, for the most part. 5/8 or whatever. I did it. Oh, I did it all right. The only thing I didn't do was what they asked of me, was when the urine screens, when they falsely accused me of using drugs and I hadn't been, and they even had a clean urine screen. So what my point is here is, even if I would have conformed to all of their wants and needs, and Mary did too, because it's really easy to point a finger and it's really easy to say, well, if I would have, because you don't know until you're there. They don't give, they take. Do you understand? You do one thing, they take back 3. You have a 3, 4, 5-year-old child begging to come home to her mom and dad. Begging. And they don't listen to it. How on God's earth are we allowing such an organization to operate and steal our children? We are stupid as human beings, folks. If you go beyond the wood line and see a baby in a nest or in a den or in anything, and you go to that nest or den or whatever it is and you try to take that baby, what happens? Now, I'm not saying this threatening, and I'm not saying this trying to be pushy or bossy or whatever. Just simple, trivial question. If you go try to take a young from a nest or a den or whatever from her parents, what happens to you in the wild? That's right. We know what happens. But how come humans don't protect our young that way? And why are we penalized for protecting our young that way? Why is it said that that is not the right mentality to have? Because when all of nature that has outsurvived us by thousands of years, they've survived us. You know why? Because they protect their young. You want to learn a lesson? Protect our young. Because we're not. And what people need to realize is, as much as this hurts my wife and I, that Nina's gone, it hurts her 10 times more. And that's why she deserves nothing more than 1,000% of my time, my effort, and God damn it, every wit I have. Because she will get that until she comes home.
But they're like, Darren, rip the phone out of her hand. She's making this decision.
Because they want to make
because Darren's on, because I'm the abuser now.
Bad guy.
And then what? They couldn't get anything else, dude. She's been through. How many people go through 5 fucking counselors? 2 years, dude. 5 counselors she's gone through. 5.
Dude.
Every one of them saying the same thing. You know what's fucked up? After every time that her counselors go, dude, they've just miraculously taken another position. As soon as they come out and say that Mary's not a dude, right in her paperwork, she doesn't have a fucking problem other than DHS took her kid.
And the fucked up thing is that they're going
New
to try to
counselor,
turn
Mary,
around,
and they don't care.
but they're going to try to pit it a different way. Right?
And then
They're
everything
going to
went
put
down.
you against her and her against you.
And now it's
they did that to me and my
and
ex.
that's what they're doing.
Well, you have no problem.
That's what
so
they're doing.
we
now.
want you to take full custody of your daughter, but you have to divorce your wife to have your kid, or we're going to take her. Like what is that? You need to divorce your spouse, or we're going to take your child.
Dude, that's just. Mary was told multiple fucking times. If you leave Darren, this will all be
she'd
fine.
have her right back, and you'd be out of the
That's
picture.
a fucking lie. That's a fucking lie, dude.
So they say right involved until you signed over your rights entirely, but then they're going to investigate her even more on top of it.
Dude,
you know?
It's a fucking lie, dude. It's all lies. What do you think, dude? This is what I'm trying to do here, okay? I got a motion to stay, right? The appeal's been filed. I'm not so sure where we're at with that. I wanted, and then I could do a show cause, I believe, a motion to reconsider. And then my basis for that would be during a trial, movement must have meritorious claims. Basis in fact and law to conclude that the standard of care has been breached. She fucking made a bad decision in that judgment. I would think that that's fucking with the standard of care, like how you're supposed to rule in a court case.
Yeah.
I would think. And then with all the other things that were on there. And then there's this motion. The department has failed to meet its obligations pursuant to 22 MRS 404111A1 2017. Failure precludes findings of unfitness, which means that if the department didn't fulfill their side of, see, it's been all this time, dude. It's been the judge has ordered reunification. Okay, so we didn't even meet. Well, hold on. We didn't even meet the time on the map that it needed to be to get to the TPR. If you take that 60 days ahead of time, dude, they did this in like record time, dude. They got big money for this.
Well, but that's the thing is, like, initially, they have to prove that you, in fact, were neglecting or abusing your child.
It says in the thing, dude. It is hard to tell you.
Again, right.
It's hard to read in writing. It's hard to see in writing the way we came to the conclusion to find you guilty.
So
what it says.
I don't know how to prove this.
I don't even know how to say it. It's not the words.
So just take my word for it.
Right.
I mean, come the fuck on. Right? They could do that initially. They could be like, well, it's just like you right now. If you wanted to, I mean, appropriate time of day, if you wanted to go down to the courthouse and be like, this dude fucking threatened to kill me, I fear for my life. Fuck it, we'd have a fucking protection order against us.
Right.
We wouldn't be able to be in touch with the judge automatically.
Yeah.
You know?
I know it.
2 weeks later, you have to prove that happened.
Right.
Can you imagine being a judge on the bench saying that those were words of intimidation, fear, threatening manners, showing me not being aware of Nina's needs, or me not paying attention to her herself, not being able to be safe for her to be around? Can you believe that? Where on earth did they come up with what the guardian ad litem said about this being just over the top? that this was an over-the-top recording to show that I shouldn't be Nina's dad anymore, and those son of a bitches took that away from us. What's the worst part? They didn't even listen to the damn podcast. I know my attorney hasn't. I'm pretty sure none of the attorneys have listened to the podcast. I'm certain that the judge did not listen to the podcast. And the reason I know that the judge didn't listen to the podcast is because she wouldn't have found me guilty at either one of the hearings that she judged, where she decided my fate. One was the restraining order, and then now my TPR hearing. Now, I know that she didn't listen to this because she knows that she knows that this would have been a lie, and she would have had to have ruled as, either completely throw it out, a mistrial or something, right? She would have had to rule not guilty on our behalf because the caseworker was lying. No, that didn't happen. I even said in our closing arguments, I said, Your Honor, please make reference to our case back in January of the past year, where now I want to be very careful with this, because the caseworker did not file an order of harassment against me. She herself did, which is over now, by the way, but she herself, it was her versus me in the state of Maine District Court. Her versus me. Who was representing her that day? The district attorney. The same district attorney that's prosecuting us for our TPR. A civil matter. Family law matter. Anyways, I want to know if you guys can leave me a message. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you think that was threatening or overbearing, or if I seemed like I was out of control and losing my mind. Because I'll tell you what I thought when I was expressing this, because, doing these things are kind of difficult. Text messaging and everything has gotten everybody out of whack nowadays. They don't understand how to use your tone of voice. Sad, happy, mad, fast, like any of those things. So it's hard to get back into used to that, to using the proper ways to speak. So if I did that wrong in that podcast, let me know, please, by all means, anybody. I thought that what you heard was a sad dad, broken down man, trying to do whatever he can do to get his daughter back up against the wall, but it's laying down flat on his back. I mean, they stole Nina and they've pickled us every corner that we could get to. But yet they've never even said why she was abused or neglected. Never once have we gotten an answer of why she was abused and neglected. It baffles me. Makes me sick to my stomach. Makes me sick to my stomach that I'm in an America that wrong things, that lies, misinformation, kidnapping, judges ruling erratically, caseworkers doing whatever they want, have a free pass with a rubber stamp, district attorneys just running the law of the land, coming into a courtroom and just owning it like it's their own. We have a real problem in this country, people. A real problem. Now, I can't solve the world and I can't solve the United States, but I sure as hell can start right here in Maine. And I'm going to tell you coming up on the next segment
I'm going to tell you guys all about this. This thing, it's time for me to expose what I've found. So hold on. You're really going to need to sit down for this one. Be right back.